2618. Senator Suleiman Nkui, Kaduna North.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, Senator Nkui, I rise to move that the votes and proceedings for Wednesday, the 2nd of May 2018 be approved. I so move.
Senator Samayan, Imo East.
Thank you, Mr. President. Samayan, Imo East. I rise to the second motion, heavily moved by Senator Nkui, that the votes and proceedings of Wednesday, 22nd of May 2018 be approved.
Staff and students of Fountain Knowledge International Academy, Kashi, Abuja, and staff and students of Model Comprehensive Secondary School in Great Plateau State, who are all in a gallery to observe our Senate proceedings. I wish you all a fruitful observation. You may now sit down. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Committee on Culture and Tourism on the sale of the National Theatre and the Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos. Mr. President, may we invite Senator Fatima Raji Rasaki, Chairman of the Committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report. Mr. President, the Chairman is not here. I therefore move that we stand down.
Yes.
Niger East Senatorial District. Sorry, Mr. President, I've just been informed that Senator Raji Rasaki has the report ready, and that me being a member of the committee, she's asked that I present the report on her behalf with the permission of Mr.
It's just to lay the report. Yeah, if it's just to lay, you can come and lay the report. They moved to the first.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is David Umaru. I represent Niger Senatorial District. I rise to move that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Culture, Tourism, on the sale of the National Theatre and Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos. I so move.
Senator Poka.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the Senate will receive the report of the Committee on Culture and Tourism on the sale of the National Theatre and Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Culture and Tourism on the sale of National Theatre and Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos. Those in favor will receive it, say aye. Those against say nay. Let's have it. Senator David, will come and lay the report. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters of the Chartered Institute of Finance and Control of Nigeria. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Polka Emmanuel, Chairman of the Committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report.
Senator Polka.
Mr. President, Senator Polka Emmanuel is my name. I rise to move that the Senate will receive the report of the Committee on Establishment and Public Service on the Chartered Institute of Finance and Control of Nigeria, etc. Bill 2018 SB 172. I so move, Mr. President.
Senator Bolandada.
Mr. President, good colleagues, my name is Prince Bolan Dada of St. West. I this time support that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee of Establishment and Public Services and the Charter Institute of Finance and Control of Nigeria Establishment for 2018 SB 172.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on the Establishment of Public Service on the Chartered Institute of Finance and Control of Nigeria Establishment, etc. Bill 2018 SB 172. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Polka, come on, lead the report. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I can't see Senator Foster, and therefore in his absence, I will move that we stand down the presentation of the third business of the day till another legislative day.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second that we stand down the third order of the day for another legislative day.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is the consideration of the Conference Committee report on Public Procurement Act 2007, Amendment Bill 2018. Distinguished senators will recall that the Senate and the House passed different versions of Public Procurement Act 2007 Amendment Bill 2018. The Conference Committee of both houses have met and harmonized the differences in accordance with Senate Standing Order 87. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Joshua Darie to move the motion for the Senate to consider the conference report.
Senator Darie.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I rise most respectfully to present the conference report of the harmonized report on the Public Procurement Act 2007 Amendment Bill 2018 as was directed in plenary on the 20th of February 2018. The conference committee made of my humble self, Ben Bruce, Senator Dada, Senator Samegu, Abukari, and Senator Kurfi met, as well as the committee of the House and the harmonized report internally for consideration. The committee met and reviewed the earlier position taken on subclause 17, sub 6, and recommend that the Secretary of Government for the Federation shall be the Secretary of the Federal Government Tender Board. The Secretary of Procurement, Estate and Works shall be the Secretary to the National Assembly Tenders Board, and the Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court shall be the Secretary of the Judicial Tender Board, instead of the Clerk of the National Assembly as earlier recommended. We hope that the Senate will accept this recommendation of the Conference Committee. I would like on behalf of the Conference Committee to thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity granted us, and we look forward to more legislative participation and work, and will be on time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any comments? I think this is pretty straightforward. I'll just put the question. There's no comments. Those in favor that the Senate do approve the Conference Committee report on the Public Procurement Act 2007 Amendment Bill 2018, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
against say nay. The ayes have it. Explanatory memorandum. Those in support of the explanatory memorandum stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that short time to stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And those in support that a long time to stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The next is a bill for an act to provide for the corporate manslaughter by making corporate organizations criminally liable for death of employees arising from the acts of omission and for related matters 2018. It's 18 clauses. Those who support that clause 1 to 5 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that clause 6 to 10 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that clause 11 to 15 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that clauses 16 to 18 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that the plenary memorandum stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that short time to stamp out on the bill say aye. Time to stop part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The next is a bill for an act to establish the Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria for forestry research, education and training in Nigeria and for related matters 2018. SB 658. It's 23 clauses. Those in support that clause 1 to 5 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 6 to 10 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 11 to 15 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clause 16 to 23 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that schedule 1 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that the explanatory memorandum stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that short title stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that long title stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The next is a bill for an act to establish the National Postgraduate College of Medical Laboratory Sciences to conduct professional postgraduate examination of candidates into various specialized branches of medical laboratory science and for related matters. It's 19 clauses. Those in support that clause 1 to 5 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 6 to 10 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 11 to 19 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that schedule 1 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that the explanatory memorandum stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that short time to stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that long time to stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The next is a bill for now to establish the Federal Capital Territory Civil Service Commission charged with the responsibility for appointment, promotion, and discipline of staff and employees in the civil service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and for related matters, 2018 SB 660. It is 24 clauses. Those in support that clauses 1 to 5 stamp out on the say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 6 to 10 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 11 to 15 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 16 to 24 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that schedule stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that explanatory memorandum at page 14 stamp out on the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that short title stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Finally, those in support that long title stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The next is a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Academy of Science to promote the growth, acquisition, and dissemination of scientific knowledge and to facilitate the use of science in the solution to problems of national interest and for related matters 2018 SB 662. It is 19 clauses. Those in support that clauses 1 to 5 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 6 to 10 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 11 to 19 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that said 1, 2, 3 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that plenary memorandum stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that short title and long title stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the next is a bill for an act to establish the Animal Health Husbandry Technologies Registration Board of Nigeria to regulate the practice of animal health and husbandry technologies in Nigeria and for related matters 2018 SB 664. It's 23 clauses. Those in support that clauses 1 to 5 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 6 to 10 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 11 to 15 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clause 16 to 23 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that the plenary memorandum stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that short title and long title stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Very distinguished colleagues, the next bill for an act established the National Child Protection and Enforcement Agency to provide necessary protection and care for the Nigerian children and for related matters 2018 SB 665. It is 22 clauses. Those in support that clauses 1 to 5 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clause 6 to 10 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clause 11 to 15 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clause 16 to 22 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that schedules 1 and 2 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And those in support that the plenary memorandum at page 14 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that short title and long title stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Dear colleagues, the last one is a bill for an act to regulate the franchised business in Nigeria and for related matters 2018 SB 666. 19 clauses. Dear colleagues, those in support that clauses 1 to 5 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 6 to 10 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 11 to 15 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clauses 16 to 19 stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that the plenary memorandum, short title and long title stamp out of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Leader.
Mr. Chairman, very distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate reverse to plenary for the charge report progress.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, I second that the Senate revert to plenary to report progress.
Dear colleagues, those in support of the motion that chair now report progress say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Dear colleagues, the Senate and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of appeal for an act to establish the National Assembly Budget and Research Office, which provides the National Assembly with objective, timely, and non-partisan analysis needed for economic and budget decisions and for related matters 2018, and approved as follows. Clause 1 to 23 as recommended, schedule as recommended, short title as recommended, long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Dear colleagues, also the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report on a bill for an act to provide for corporate manslaughter by making corporate organizations criminally liable for the death of employees arising from their actions or omissions and for related matters 2018, and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 17 as recommended, schedule as recommended, short title as recommended, long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Dear colleagues, the Senate and the Committee of the Whole also considered the report on a bill for an act to establish the Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria for forestry research, education, and training in Nigeria, and for related matters 2018, and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 22 as recommended, schedule, short title, and long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Again, the Senate and the Committee of the Whole considered a report on a bill for an act to establish the National Postgraduate College of Medical Laboratory Science to conduct professional postgraduate examination of candidates into various specialized branches of medical laboratory science and for related matters 2018, and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 18 as recommended, the schedule, the short title, and long title as recommended. Is this a reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Dear colleagues, the Committee in the Whole, the Senate and the Committee of the Whole considered a report on a bill for an act to establish the Federal Capital Territory Civil Service Commission charged with responsibility for appointment, promotion, and discipline of staff and employees in the civil service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and for that matter 2018, and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 23 as recommended, schedules, short title, and long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Dear colleagues, the Senate and the Committee of the Whole considered a report of a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Academy of Science to promote the growth, acquisition, and dissemination of scientific knowledge and to facilitate the use of science in the solution to problems of national interest and for related matters 2018, and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 18 as recommended, schedules 1 to 3 as recommended, short title as recommended, long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Dear colleagues, the Senate also in the Committee of the Whole considered a report on a bill for an act to establish the Animal Health Husbandry Technology Registration Board of Nigeria to regulate the practice of animal health and husbandry technologies in Nigeria and for related matters 2018, and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 22 as recommended, schedule 1 to 3 as recommended, short title as recommended, long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Again, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report on a bill of an act to establish the National Child Protection and Enforcement Agency to provide necessary protection and care for the Nigerian children and for related matters 2018, and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 21 as recommended, schedules 1 to 2 as recommended, short title as recommended, long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. And finally, the Senate and Committee of the Whole considered a report on a bill for an act to regulate the refranchised business in Nigeria and for related matters 2018, and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 18 as recommended, short title as recommended, long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I move that the bills be now read the third time, one after another.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second that the bills be read the third time, one after the other. I so second.
Dear colleagues, those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish an independent National Assembly Budget and Research Office, which shall provide the National Assembly with objective, timely, and non-partisan analysis needed for economic and budget decisions and other related matters, 2018, third reading.
A bill for an act to establish an independent National Assembly Budget and Research Office, which shall provide the National Assembly with objective, timely, and non-partisan analysis needed for economic and budget decisions and further related matters, 2018, third reading taken and passed. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for corporate manslaughter to make corporate organizations criminally liable for death of employees arising from the act of omission and for other related matters, 2018, third reading.
Dear colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for corporate manslaughter to make corporate organizations criminally liable for death of employees arising from their acts of omission and for other related matters, 2018, third reading taken and passed. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal the Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria Act 1973 and reenact the Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria and for other matters connected therewith, 2018, third reading.
Dear colleagues, a bill for an act to repeal the Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria Act 1973 and reenact the Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria and for other matters connected therewith, 2018, third reading taken and passed. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Postgraduate College of Medicine Laboratory Science and for other matters connected therewith, 2018, third reading.
Dear colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the National Postgraduate College of Medical Laboratory Science and for other matters connected therewith, 2018, third reading taken and passed. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal Capital Territory Civil Service Commission and for other matters connected therewith, 2018, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal Capital Territory Civil Service Commission and for other matters connected therewith, 2018, third reading taken and passed. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Academy of Science to promote the growth, acquisition, and dissemination of scientific knowledge and to facilitate the use of science in the solution to problems of national interest and for related matters, 2018, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Academy of Science and to promote the growth, acquisition, and dissemination of scientific knowledge and to facilitate the use of science in the solution to problems of national interest and for related matters, 2018, read the third time and passed. Clerk of.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to regulate the practice and to make provisions for Animal Health Husbandry Technologies Registration Board of Nigeria and for other related matters connected therewith, 2018, third reading.
Dear colleagues, a bill for an act to regulate the practice and to make provisions for Animal Health Husbandry Technologies Registration Board of Nigeria and for other related matters connected therewith, 2018, third reading taken and passed. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Child Protection and Enforcement Agency and for related matters, 2018, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the National Child Protection and Enforcement Agency and for related matters, 2018, read the third time and passed. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to make provision for franchise in Nigeria and for other matters connected therewith, 2018, third reading.
Dear colleagues, a bill for an act to make provision for a franchise in Nigeria and for other matters connected there with 2018, read the third time and passed. Well, distinguished colleagues, I'd like to thank all of us for your diligence in ensuring that to clean up these bills, because whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well. So it's part of our diligence in the exercise of our functions that have necessitated bringing back these bills so that whatever observations have been noted by the legal department and some of the other stakeholders have been taken care of, so that when we are sending now to the president, it's a bill that's kind of near perfect. And we hope that they'll be assented to as soon as possible in order to be able to add the necessary value to governance. So I want to thank you for your patience and your diligence in going through this process once more. So I thank you and thank the leader and his team for a good job. So once more, congratulations for our effort to ensure that all these bills are concluded today. Thank you. Business leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the 11th order of the day is the consideration of the reports of the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition in respect of A, petition from Mrs. Mariam Danna Mohammed against Niger Delta Power Holding Company for wrongful termination of her appointment. B, petition from Kalu Samuel and 348 others against Michael Opara Federal University of Agriculture, Umudike, Abia State, for unlawful suspension from office. C, petition from Tanzania Petroleum Company Limited against Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPPRA, for non-payment of subsidy on premium motor spirit PMS imported. D, petition from Mr. Chiri Anosike Igbo Kaike against National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, over his wrongful dismissal from service for alleged misconduct. E, petition from Agula Olawale Matthew against the Police Service Commission for alleged denial of police training and eventual employment. F, petition from Linda Ore Okpo against the Federal Road Safety Corps for alleged unlawful termination of her appointment by the Corps. G, petition from PC Onang Inama against the Nigeria Police Force for inappropriate placement in the force. H, petition from Mr. Tochukwu Dunu against the Nigeria Police Force for his unlawful arrest and detention and fraudulent sale of his tanker truck loaded with petroleum products. I, petition from Eagle Eyes Network Chambers on behalf of G. Kappa PLC against Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation for refusal of the corporation to effect payment of the outstanding financial claim for the construction and handing over blocks B and C of NNPC Towers, Abuja. J, petition from Mr. Donald E. Ovai against Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation for alleged wrongful disengagement from the corporation. K, petition from PC Ohadaka Ifeanyi Chiku against the Nigerian Police Force for alleged wrongful dismissal from the force. L, petition from Inspector Festus O. Urakpo against the Police Service Commission for wrongful dismissal from service over alleged misconduct. M, petition from Mr. Lawrence Opiti Ogbeni against Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation for alleged dismissal from the corporation. N, petition from Julex Associates against National Council for Arts and Culture for Operation Harassment and Avoidable Inferno at the Arts and Crafts Village, Abuja. O, petition from Livingston Inseo against Nigerian Railway Corporation for alleged non-implementation of ministerial approval on promotions. P, complaint from Senator Malang Aluwakili of blessed memory against Mr. Fred Itua of the Sun newspaper for allegedly misleading the public against the Senate in the Sunday Sun newspaper publication of 22nd of October 2017. And Q, petition from IG or BI2 Esquire on behalf of the people of Irete village of Amaforo Autonomous Community Ibeku Umahia North Local Government Area, Abia State, against Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, Ibadan, Oyo State, for alleged non-compensation for land acquired. Mr. President, distinguished senators will recall that these reports were laid on Wednesday, the 14th of February, 2018, Thursday, the 22nd of March, 2018, and Thursday, the 19th of April, 2018, respectively. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Samuel Anyau to move the motion for the Senate to consider the report of the committee. So move.
Senator Samuel Anyau.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Sam Anyang. I represent Imo East in Imo State. With the leave of Mr. President and the Senate, I move that the Senate do consider the reports of the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions in respect of the reports as stated by the leader of the Senate from A to Q. I so move, Mr. President.
Agenda Global.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and my distinguished colleagues. I remain Senator P.A. Audio General, Abia Central. I stand to move to support the motion moved by distinguished Senator Sam Anyang accordingly. I so support.
Very well, thank you. Dear colleagues, still in support of the motion, as Senate do not consider those reports, say aye. Those against saying nay. Yes, Senator Anyang, we have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Once again, my name is Sam Anyang, Imo East. Mr. President, colleagues, I would crave your indulgence to let me go to the observations and findings because we have a lot of reports here. And all of us have copies. The Senate will record that on Thursday, 23rd November 2017, rising on order 41, Senator Babakaka Bashir Garba, Borno Central, drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from his constituent, Mrs. Mariam Dana Mohammed, against Niger Delta Power Holding Company for wrongful termination of her appointment and urged the Senate to look into the matter. In line with Order 41.3, the Senate referred the matter to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions for detailed investigation. I would like to go to observations and findings. Item 5.0. After carefully studying the submissions and oral presentations of Mrs. Mariam Dana Mohammed and the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, the committee noted as follows. 1. That Mrs. Mariam Dana Mohammed was a staff of the defunct Power Holding Company of Nigeria and was offered exclusive secondment to Niger Delta Power Holding Company, NDPHC, to head the audit department as general manager with effect from 1st July 2011. 2. Her position as general manager audit and compliance in the Niger Delta Power Holdings was not appointive, but earned as a staff by going through the ranks and through hard work. 3. That prior to her disengagement, there was no meeting presided over by the chairman of the board, as Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, or any other member of the board of NDPHCH, where the decision to disengage her was taken. 4. That is the disengagement of the officer along with executive management and executive directors of NDPHC was out of order because due process in accordance with the terms and conditions of employment and disengagement of officers in the company was not followed. And 5. That the officer was not accused of any offense or queried or suspended prior to her disengagement. Recommendation. Following from the findings above, the committee wishes to recommend as follows. That the Senate hereby mandated Niger Delta Power Holdings to restate Mrs. Mariam Dana Mohammed and pay her all entitlements because her disengagement did not follow due process. In conclusion, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the committee, I thank you for the support and opportunity to serve. Mr. President, before I conclude this, I want to say this. This particular issue, this case, is one of those injustices we have witnessed in this country. I'm able to say that this woman was disengaged out of fear of her position as a GM, audit and compliance. In fact, after the deliberation in a committee, the people from the NDPHC came to me to beg me that I should not recall the woman back. That they actually wanted her because if she comes back, she will stop them. And this is very funny. This is, you can't do this kind of thing in this country. I feel so very worried. And this is one of the cases that so many people have been relieved of their position for not just cause, just out of fear of the unknown. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, discussed colleagues. Yes, Senator Barra.
Mr. President, I am Barra Jibrin Abdul Kadunot. Mr. President, the recommendation of the committee is that the Senate hereby mandate Niger Delta Holding Company to reinstate Ms. Mariam. I think you shouldn't stop here, because it's clearly seen the facts in the committee's report that it's not the power holding company that is engaged her, that it was via a letter from the Secretary of the federal government. I think the recommendation should extend to that office of the Secretary of the federal government, because he was the one who sent a letter that should be disengaged. So if you decide to mandate the power holding company to reinstate her, probably they will not be able to do so, because they've stated clearly here, based on the fact that he gave. So I think a letter should also, a communication should also be made directly, should be directed to the Secretary of the Government, advising that she should be reinstated as a submit.
Well, I think she's a staff of the power holding company. So only that company can reinstate her. Senator Lero, you are vast in this business. What's the advice?
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I remain Mohammed Adamalero, representing Kebbi Central. I think there is no need writing to the Secretary of State government, to the federal government, because Niger Power Holding Company is an independent entity. It's a limited liability company. And even though government has about 40% shareholding, but the responsibility falls squarely on the management of the Niger Power Holding Company. So there is no need to refer it to the AGF.
Yes, Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. My respected colleagues, James Manager, Delta South. Mr. President, looking at the letter, there is a substance in what Senator Barao has said. You know, when people are out to do injustice, they will look for some technical reasons, hide under that technical reason, and say, after all, we didn't write the letter to the woman to disengage her. The letter emanated from the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. So in my humble view, I think we stand to lose nothing if we write the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, from whose office the letter emanated, and we also maybe write the power holding company. Just what is important is for us to achieve fairness, justice in all this, so that the power holding company will now see from the account of the chairman of the committee. He said, even after hearing them out, the people decided to come behind the scene and met with him, say, please don't bring this woman back. That means the people appear to be very desperate. And if this they are desperate moves, these people could do so many things. So in my humble view, if it is about writing letter, let the committee, the Senate write letter to the Secretary of State Government, the Government of the Federation, and then copy or write another separate one to the power holding company, so that at the end of the day, let justice be done. That is what is important right now. Thank you, Mr.
Well, it all depends on what we arrive at, but let me also, on point of direction, usually our communications are directed to the Secretary of the Federal Government. So even this one too will still pass through him. We are not going to write straight to the power holding company. This will still go to the Secretary of the Federal Government, who will in turn make appropriate, give appropriate directive. So it's Senator Young.
No, you've just clarified what I wanted to say, because usually all the resolution of the system goes through the CNA to the office of the SGF.
All right, dear colleagues, those in support of the prayer or the recommendation that the Senate hereby mandate the Niger Delta Power Holding Company to reinstate Mrs. Mariam Dana Mohammed and pay her all her entitlements because her disengagement did not follow due process, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Nyau. Next.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate will recall that on Wednesday, 27 September 2017, Senator Enyinaya H. Abaribe, Abia South, rose on the 41 and drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from his constituent, Carlos Samuel, and 348 others against Michael Okpara, Federal University of Agriculture, Umudike, Abia State, for unlawful suspension from office, and urged the Senate to look into the matter. In line with Order 41.3, the Senate referred the matter to the Committee on Ethics and Public Petitions for detailed investigation. I'll go to observation and findings. After carefully studying the evidence provided by the petitioner and respondent, the committee found as follows. 1. That the Vice Chancellor of the Vice Chancellor or the Senate of the University had recruited Carl Samuel and 348 staff as temporary staff to close the existing staffing gaps during the life of the 5th Governing Council of the Michael Okpara Federal University of Agriculture, Umudike. 2. That the sanction of suspension was already approved by the Governing Council of the school when the 6th Governing Council and a new Vice Chancellor took over from the 5th Governing Council and the previous Vice Chancellor. 3. That the option of suspension appeared to the Council to be the only way of doing away with the staff recruited under a temporary basis. 4. That this being the case, the Council at its 19th emergency meeting held on 8 August 2017 directed A. That all those who were suspended but had not been confirmed and had adequately transferred their services from other institutions to Michael Okpara Federal University of Agriculture, Umudike, be identified and recalled. B. That staff on temporary appointment whose appointments were not regularized but were issued with offer of appointment, let that be identified and given same treatment of suspension as others. C. That staff affected by the suspension be subjected to competitive interviews at a later date. D. That Council would gradually but progressively address all issues as fairly as possible by following due process and the extant regulation of the university. And 5. That the committee is of the strong opinion that since Michael Okpara Federal University of Agriculture, Umudike, have been issued certificate of compliance in respect of Mr. Carlos Samuel and 348 others suspended staff of the institution by the Federal Character Commission, they should all be reabsorbed. Recommendation. Following the findings above, the committee wishes to recommend as follows. 1. That the Senate do now mandate Michael Okpara Federal University of Agriculture, Umudike, to reabsorb Mr. Samuel Carlo and the 348 suspended staff into the nominal role as regular staff of the university, since the Federal Character Commission had issued certificate of compliance in that regard. And 2, that the Senate Committee on Tertiary Education be mandated to ensure compliance. Mr. President, colleagues, I thank you once again for the opportunity. In this case, Mr. President, I want to say that the Vice Chancellor also came to me, tried to, find his way around this issue. I refused. The truth of the matter is that he came newly and wanted to bring his own people. And we can't condone this kind of thing. People who have opportunity to be, gainfully employed should be given an opportunity. Since they have met with all the relevant requirements for them to be employed. And right now, as we speak, out of the 348, some of them have been recalled back. But we want to make sure that those of them that brought this petition before the Senate are recalled back. If the university or the Vice Chancellor want to make an employment, they should go for a waiver and through the Federal Character Commission and be able to employ new people and removing those who have already been employed. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, Senator Gibran. Bara.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Baro Jibrin, I'm glad that at the tail end of the submission, you said, it became persuasive. So the whole thing has to be through persuasion because they were employed as temporary staff, and it's the practice everywhere. And once you are employed as temporary staff, you can be fired anytime. But now we want our people to be employed, and we should persuade them. Not mandate, but we should persuade them, persuade the authorities to help in order to reduce unemployment in our society, to employ them, to make them permanent staff. But once you are employed as temporary staff, you know you can be fired anytime. They are not permanent staff. So we are going to persuade them. It's not mandatory. That's what I want to say. We are going to persuade them.
Okay. Senator Ogla.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I remain first Ogla. The issue here is that even if they call them temporary staff, there was a validation of the appointment. The Federal Character Commission had regularized the appointments and then issued certificate of compliance to the university. Then too, for the new governing council to now say we have disengaged you. While they have been disengaged, their salary was never paid into somewhere else. And so, for me, the recommendation of the committee is in order that something wrong was clearly done. That people's budgets were there. They have not done anything wrong to warrant any dismissal or sack. And then there was partial re-engagement of some. But the committee is of the view that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. And because, as temporary as they were called, everything to get employed into the Federal Civil Service, all the conditions were met. And therefore, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm urging that the committee's report should be upheld, the recommendation should be upheld, and that the Michael Obara University should reabsorb the people as directed.
Senator James Manager.
Mr. President, my respected colleagues, Teams Manager Delta South, mine is just to commend the committee. So far, so good. Senator Ayahu and his committee members have displayed rare qualities of honor and integrity. And that is what this committee is all about, because this committee performs quasi-judicial function. And, you know, we have been told, not just the ones for today, even the ones that he had presented before today. After the open session, people going behind to meet with them, telling them, raising all sorts of sentiments. But in spite of all that, Netanyahu and his people, they have stood very firm. Their recommendations have been very wonderful. And I just want to urge Senator Netanyahu to continue to do this on the part of justice, fairness, and equity. And if you are on that track, you are already before God Almighty. And God will always vindicate you. And so this is done to encourage you to continue to do what you are doing. Because even today, you can see the long list of cases that we have to handle. That means this committee is alive. Senator Ayahu, carry go. Thank you very much.
Senator Kwankwaso.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, representing Kano Central. Mr. President, I think we need to be very careful in this sort of issues. Why? Because every employment has its own condition. And of course, there are conditions also for disengagement. Now, in this particular case, it looks like due process was followed, and therefore I tend to agree with the suggestion that we only urge the university, urge them to employ or re-engage these employees, because there are so many. And of course, the university realized that the services were not required. And therefore, I support the suggestion that the Senate do urge the university to re-engage them. Thank you, Mr. President.
Theology.
Thank you, Your Excellency, my very distinguished colleagues. Senator Theology Ochendo, I represent Abia Central. Excellency, I want to commend chairman of this committee and his members for a job well done, especially on this subject matter. But then I have some observations. You see, there are elements of vindictiveness in what has happened. Therefore, the university has to be guided. If we say that the university has to absorb them, it has to be with an effective date, or else the university can prolong and prolong and prolong, and this will continue being idle forever and ever. Secondly, if they are to be reabsorbed, they have to be paid arrears of salaries owed them by the university, because since they have been laid off, they have been doing nothing, idle, and the money is there. Therefore, they have to be paid this money to compensate them for the injuries that they have sustained within this period that they have been idle. These are the two recommendations I want to add in this process. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Well, distinguished colleagues, I can see merit in all the argument, because in labor law, you can't force a willing servant or a willing master. But this is not actually judicial process, because as James Manager said, this is a one-side judicial process. What we do through our Ethics and Petitions Committee is to do substantial justice to our constituents. So that's where the different comes in. So we've noted all the points anyway, so we'll still put the question, whatever the Senate decide, we'll go ahead with it. So, distinguished colleagues, those in support of the recommendation that the Senate do now mandate Michael Okpara Federal University of Agriculture, Mudike, to reabsorb Mr. Samuel Carlo and the 348 suspended staff into the nominal role as regular staff of the university, since the Federal Character Commission had issued a certificate of compliance in that respect. Those in support of this recommendation say aye. Aye. Those against saying nay, the ayes have it. Recommendation 2, that the Senate Committee on Tertiary Education be mandated to ensure compliance. Those in support of this recommendation say aye. Okay. Wait, now there's amendment.
That the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institution and Third Form be mandated to persuade or to urge the authorities of Federal University of Mudike to absorb these people.
Senator Kwankwaso, are you seconding that amendment?
Mr. President, my name is Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, representing Kano Central. Mr. President, I rise to second the motion popularly moved by Senator Barrow.
So, are we using urge or persuade? Urge. Okay. Dear colleagues, those in support of the recommendation 2, as amended by those powerful senators from Kano State, say aye. Those against saying nay, the ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Anyang. Next one. Ojendo, you have an additional prayer. This is not a prayer, this is a recommendation of a committee. You are not a member of the committee, so we can't add anything here now. Anyang.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear colleagues, the Senate will record that on Thursday, 18 January 2018, rising on order 41, Senator Adoko A. Ali Kogi East drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from Tanzania Petroleum Company Limited against Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency for non-payment of subsidy on premium motor spirit imported, and urged the Senate to look into the matter. In line with Order 41.3, the Senate referred the matter to the Committee on Ethics, Privilege and Public Petitions for detailed legislative investigation. Observations and findings. After carefully studying the submissions and oral presentations of the petition and respondent, the committee found as follows. 1. That Tanzania Petroleum Company Limited was led into importing PMS ahead of formal approval by PPRA on account of verbal assurance given by staff of the agency. 2. That although importation before formal approval was a breach of the approved process, which Tanzania gracefully accepted, it was impossible to stop the importation process initiated by Tanzila at the time that PPRA declared approval because the processes had reached an advanced stage, cancellation of which would have amounted to huge financial losses which Tanzila could not have afforded. 3. That although PPRA said that the reason for declining approval was as a result of an anticipated glut or oversupply of PMS, there was no proof of oversupply at that time, and as such, their claim could not be substantiated. 4. That the committee is of the opinion that notwithstanding whether there was approval or no approval before importation, notwithstanding whether there was glut or no glut, the huge cost of $14,980,459.29 expended to import 15,415,167 metric tons of PMS by Tanzila was a factor that could not be swept aside as long as so was approving that indigenous entrepreneurs and investors be encouraged to dive. 5. The committee is of the opinion that since Tanzila met all other conditions except importation before approval, this obvious technical error be overlooked and he be paid after due consideration of interest that accrued on the bank facility. And 6. That since there was no doubt by anyone, including PPRA, that Tanzila actually imported over 15,000 metric tons of PMS and said under the PSF scheme, his huge investment should not be allowed to go to the West. Recommendations. After due consideration of the issues raised between the petitioner and respondent, the committee hereby recommends 1. That since no one was in doubt as to whether or not Tanzila imported 15,415,167 metric tons of PMS to augment the effort of the federal government to ensure the availability of PMS nationwide, the huge expenditure it made to import the above quantity of PMS be paid for. 2. That appropriate compensation be paid to Tanzila in order to offset the interest generated on the bank facility obtained by it as PPRA and other relevant agencies deem it fit as encouragement to keep indigenous investors in Nigeria in business. And 3. That PPRA should make necessary effort to avoid such situations in the future by approving or declaring approval for importation early enough. Mr. President, Mr. colleagues, once again, we thank you for the opportunity to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, I'm at a loss because for an importer to embark on importation, he must obtain the necessary approval from the regulatory authority. PPRA is the regulatory authority for the importation of petroleum products into Nigeria. This company called Tanzila started importation procedure without obtaining the necessary approval. And in essence, they went ahead to they went ahead to import the petroleum product without the approval. And they are now claiming over $14 million after breaching our import procedure. Mr. President, we should not be encouraging illegality. This company illegally imported this petroleum product. And there are many people that are doing this kind of importation. We should be careful in approving this kind of thing. We know right now the EFCC and other agencies are investigating the petroleum scam of 2013-2014, where so much petroleum products were said to be brought into the country. And they just collect documents and go and dump it with the PPRA. And payments were made. And what happened after investigation, such importation was found to be bogus. There was no importation. So, Mr. President, this company called Tanzila imported petroleum products without going through due process. And we're here, sitting, trying to approve this illegality.
No, we're not trying to approve anything. We're considering the report, please. Put back the microphone. Yeah, well, that's what we're considering. Put back the microphone.
The recommendation that we should recommend payment of 14,415,167 metric tons of PMS to augment the import of the federal government to ensure the availability of PMS nationwide. We should not approve it. That's my stand.
Mr. Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, I stand up to make my contribution on this report. First of all, it is my desire and wish that when we receive petitions in this National Assembly, in our chambers, we should be able to receive petitions that deal with ordinary people who first may not be able to go to courts because they can't afford something that is very basic and mundane, that will provide some solace and consolation for the ordinary people that we represent. This particular report, page 5, for example, where the emphasis of the approval to establish eligibility for payments is very crucial. And Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I believe that this particular case should rather be determined by courts and other financial organizations like the FCC and so on, because the aspect of subsidy payments in Nigeria has been enmeshed in controversies, in so many cases of fraud, and I believe that maybe the courts can handle it better, or the FCC, I don't know, but I believe that this Senate should not encourage people with this kind of case to come before us, because it's so complex, it's so controversial. I can't see a situation where we recommend the payment of over $14 million to one company that abused the due process in the first place. There was no explicit and express approval given to this company by the PPPRA to say go and import, simply because the company was able to just move in and start the process, say they don't want to lose anything. Nigeria, this is our money. We can't just take this kind of money and donate or give to someone that has flouted the law. In fact, even if the supply was made, the fact that there was no due process should be enough ground not to approve payment, talk less of no approval. So I painfully feel that we shouldn't approve the payment of this money for this company. That itself should teach anybody who wants to be involved a lesson that you should be patient enough to go through the entire process of getting the approval before you embark on it. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Kwankwaso.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, representing Kano Central. Mr. President, I want to support the last speakers, especially Senator Alero, who, of course, made it clear that this chamber must always support due process, should support the rule of law, and therefore it is my opinion that the PPRA should not be, let me say, mandated, but like we did previously, we can urge them to look at the situation as it is to see what can be done by Tanzania. Mr. President, over the years, we are being confronted with contractors who are very much in a hurry for one or the other to go and do or start contracts without having approval. And therefore, while we want to support or assist this company, we therefore have to follow due process. So I support the submission that due process must be supported and must be followed before this chamber decides to support the payment. Especially this money is a huge amount of money because we are talking of almost $15 million US. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe I have to support the last three speakers. But the only thing I want to point out is that in this number, page 7, the way the ethics committee captioned this thing aggravates those who are speaking, which I don't blame them. Mr. President, we don't condone illegality. If you read the comments of the committee's recommendation, that the committee is of the opinion that notwithstanding whether there was approval or no approval, well, that one is very offensive. In other words, you are the committee is trying to encourage illegality. If you cannot say whether there is approval or no approval, notwithstanding whether there is glut or no glut, the $14 million to be paid to the company who imported diesel without approval is I believe from my own, is offensive. And because of it, Mr. President, we should not condone illegality. I don't even support that this money should be paid to the company. If they so wish, they should go to court. Thank you, Asomu.
Yes, before we put the question, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Gershon Bassi, Cross River South. I need some clarification, Mr. President, from the committee. Is it that the goods, the products that were ordered were actually received by the PPPRA? And is there enough evidence that these products were received? Because if they were received, then we have to pay. You cannot receive documents, receive products, have documentary evidence of receipt of those products, and then say you don't want to pay. We have to pay. The issues of due process are germane, that is true. But the issue of receipt of the products and whether we have actually used these products is actually very important. So I think the committee needs to throw some light on that so that we can be properly informed. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Ogula.
Thank you, Mr. President. From my basic law of conduct, the two ingredients that we need to look at are offer and acceptance. PPRA is not denying in this case that they made a preliminary acceptance of the offer to import. PPRA is not denying the goods actually arrived. But due to the limitation of human error, PPRA later discovered the glut they were afraid of was not, the undersupply was not there again. But you don't need to have offer and acceptance always in writing. No. I'm talking business law. You offer an acceptance constitutes an agreement. And so even if there was no formal approval, they have initiated, and knowing the business of oil supply, the absence of one shipload can cause queues in our environment. And therefore, the blame should be PPRA's blame and not that of the company. That is my own understanding. The company supplied, PPRA is not denying they did not supply, PPRA is not denying they gave an initial or preliminary approval, only they discovered that there was no undersupply and therefore declined. You don't lure a businessman to invest his money and deny him in the later stage. Then who bears the loss? And this business was on the understanding that when you import and sell at the appropriate price regulated by PPRA, you will be paid subsidy. So PPRA cannot appropriate and reprobate. That is my own understanding of this issue. The fact and issue that there was a preliminary approval, the products were imported, PPRA is not saying the products never came in. PPRA is not saying they didn't give preliminary approval.
Let's hear from the chairman. Let him throw more light. Mr. Tanyahu.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. colleagues. First of all, let me appreciate the arguments on this report. But I want us to get something very clear. Mr. President, remember that before we come out into any recommendation to the Senate, we first of all get the submission from the petitioner and of course the respondent. And PPRA is a federal government agency. They have accepted the fact that yet they gave them verbal, it was not only Tanzila, they gave them verbal approval and they went to pause. In fact, from the documents before us, which PPRA also accepted, the ship or the vessel that carried this product, there are two companies used the same vessel, and then the other man was paid because his own approval was there before this time. So PPRA accepted and that they received the product, and we saw documents of acceptance of the product, and then asked them to go out for approval. You know, I'm not into the petroleum business. I've never been involved. You know, my own job is to run election and win election. So I didn't know about, but we have documentation, approval from PPMC, even the check officer who regularized everything. And PPA saw the documents and they never disputed it, agreed, but they said they have not regularized their approval letter or whatever they call it. So on that, Mr. President, it will be very unfair as a senator of the Federal Government of Nigeria, and it's very glaring that somebody imported, the man has accepted and received it, and you said the documents, because they have not gotten a formal approval, that they should not be paid. It is, I mean, we are here to be fair to all manner of people, and that's where we conclude our report. And after that, Mr. President, I also met with the PPRO GM or whatever, MD. Yes, I met with him in South Africa. And I brought up this issue. We agreed that, they're going to look at that issue and find a way to resolve it. So, I mean, our job is to protect everybody. I don't know the Tanzila. This petition was presented by a senator in the Senate. So I think that we should look at that from that point. Not that we are approving the money, but we should also encourage our agencies to encourage our local investors. If it's a foreign company now that imported this, they will not pay the person because they want to make money out of it. But these are the indigenous person. You must encourage them. That was the fact.
Okay. Very distinguished colleagues, I think this is a very serious matter. So the commercial transaction, point of order here is Senate Leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I come under Order 41,
read.
And it's under petitions. The Senate shall not receive any petition on any matter for which there is a judicial remedy. Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, just like I said at the beginning of my contribution, we should make this Senate receive and deal with petitions from people, ordinary people who cannot afford to go to courts because they don't have the wherewithal. Mr. President, where a situation shows clearly that the complainant, in this case a company, an oil company, that can provide or supply products worth over $14 million, such an organization can go to court. We should be very careful and mindful of the fact that some people will try to take advantage of what we do here, who are ordinarily not supposed to come here for remedy. So based on this, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I want to advise the Senate that Tanzila, or whatever his name is, should be advised to go to court because they have the capacity to go to court. And let's use our resources to attend to issues that affect ordinary people who cannot afford to go to court. Thank you.
So then, how did you find out whether they tried a judicial remedy? And then, of course.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remember that in this Senate, there's a petition, Mr. President, if you remember, there's a petition that was led by you that has to do with YY's Honey and Ministry of Trade and Investment. It's a Nigerian that did a business for Nigeria, for government agency, and they refused to pay him. So in that matter, would you ask the YY's Honey to go to court? When you have every opportunity to avail the opportunity to look for a remedy to get the money. First of all, like I said, as the committee chairman, we sat. There is no, this order, invoked by the Senate leader, does not come in because this matter is not a court. They are not.
No. It's not say what I think court on. It said if there's a judicial remedy, if you can go to court and get remedy, that's so.
Mr. President, every report, every petition here has judicial remedy. Anybody sacked from office go to court. So what I'm saying, we're doing, that's why this committee is here, to do a fact-finding, a forensic investigation, to know what is. And well, our job is to make recommendation to the Senate based on what we have seen, and it's subject to the members to accept or not. But we must also look at the issue from the point of view that we must be fair to all of it, whether it's a big man or a poor man. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Now the point here is that we have our rules here for which we are all obliged to obey. The fact that somebody didn't raise an objection to it does not make it right. So because I have been of the opinion that sometimes we overlook some of these things because we can't take over the job of our courts because we have an ethics committee. If otherwise we'll be overreaching ourselves. That's why we have separation of powers. So the point is, if there is no judicial remedy, then we take it. But if there is, we have to respect the rules we made for ourselves here. So if you've listened to all the parties here, so all they need to tell us now if there's no judicial remedy. And of course, you did say here that they were prepared to even settle the matter on their own. So if they do that, instead of violating our rules, my thinking should have been for you to encourage them to settle both out of court and out of the parliament itself. Since they have shown interest, so instead of we sitting here and breaching our own rules. That's my personal thinking, so that you take this thing back and encourage them to try to settle it themselves, so that we cannot be seen as if we are encroaching on the judicial territory, especially where the matter is straightforward. Because if they have supplied the items and it was accepted, they are entitled to be paid. But we cannot take over the job of the court. Because if they refuse to pay now, we don't have capacity to enforce it, but the court will have capacity to enforce it if they refuse to pay through a judicial proceeding. So that's my thinking. So if it is the wish of the Senate, I would recommend that the committee take back this particular report and encourage out of court settlement, out of the parliamentary settlement. Is that the wish of the Senate? Okay. So you take it back, right, and encourage them to settle. Okay, next one.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wise one. The Senate will recall that on Wednesday, 5th April 2017, Rising Order 41, Senator Mao Ohabunwa Abianot drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from his constituent, Mr. Nochiri Anosike Ibokike, against the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency over his wrongful dismissal from service for alleged misconduct, and urged the Senate to look into the matter. Then we'll go to observation and findings. After careful studying the submissions and oral presentations of Mr. Nochiri Anosike Ibokaike and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the committee noted as follows. 1. That Mr. Nochiri Anosike Ibokaike joined the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in 1990 and was dismissed in 1994, alongside many other staff of the agency from service on the recommendation of a federal task force on hard drugs led by Major General Musa Mbami, retired. 2. That in line with the recommendation of a subcommittee set up by the board in 2002 to look into various appeals from the restatement made by disengaged staff of the agency, Nochiri Anosike Ibokaike and others were given letters of clearance and disengagement in order not to jeopardize their employability. And 3. That Mr. Nochiri Anosike Ibokaike served the agency for 4 years, from 1990 to 1994, and in accordance with the public service rules, he had not served up to 5 years before he was disengaged and therefore not entitled to any benefits. Recommendation: in view of the findings above, the committee hereby recommends as follows: that the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, in addition to issuing a letter of clearance to Mr. Nochiri Ibokaike in order not to jeopardize his employability, should pay him the 3-month salary in lieu of notice NDLA has agreed to pay. Mr. President, on this matter, we have the NDLA accepted and agreed to pay on this one. So the matter has been concluded. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, the recommendation is that the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, in addition to issuing a letter of clearance to Mr. Nochiri Anosike, in order not to jeopardize his employability, should pay him the 3-month salary in lieu of notice, and NDLA has agreed to pay so. Those in support of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Nyang.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate will record that on Wednesday, 6th July 2017, rising under 41, Senator Fatima O. Rajirasaki, Eki Central, drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from her constituent, Abola Olawole Matthew, against the Police Service Commission for alleged denial of police training and eventual employment, and urged the state to look into the matter. We will go to observations and findings. After listening to the petitioner and going through the submission, the committee observed as follows: that the petitioner, Abola Olawole Matthew, actually applied for the 2016 recruitment into the Nigerian Police Force as a specialist electrical engineer and was shortlisted. And 2, that Abola Olawole Matthew was only invited for interview but was not selected for the job. Recommendation: following the findings above, the committee wishes to recommend that the Senate do sustain the non-selection of the petitioner and advise him to look for a job elsewhere because there was no offense if he was not selected by the Police Service Commission. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
Thank you, distinguished colleagues. Those about the recommendation that following the findings above, the committee wishes to recommend that the Senate do sustain the non-selection of the petitioner and advise him to look for a job elsewhere because there was no offense if he was not selected by the Police Service Commission. Those about the recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may have to apply because I think the President has approved the employment of 6,000 new police officers. I think he has an opening. So, Senator Rasaki, you have to advise your constituent to apply. And as a Senate, we recommend that he should be employed this time.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. colleagues, the Senate will record that on Tuesday, 12th July 2016, rising under 41, Senator Mao A. Ohabunwa Abianot drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from Linda Orie Ubo against the Federal Road Safety Corps for alleged unlawful termination of her appointment by the Corps and urged the State to look into the matter. In line with Order 41.3, the Senate referred the matter to the committee. Observation of findings. After going through oral and written submissions of both parties, the committee observed as follows. 1. that the petitioner, Linda Orie Ubo, actually joined the Federal Road Safety Corps on 10th November 1989 as Deputy Road Marshal. 2. That Linda Orie Ubo later gained admission to study banking and finance part-time in 1995 at the Abia State University, Uturu. 3. That in 2006, Linda Ubo applied for conversion from the non-commissioned officer cadre to the commissioned officer cadre with a fake statement of result, which claimed that she had a second-class lower division result, whereas her actual statement of result issued by the school in 2009 showed that she had a third-class degree. 4. That she attended the conversion course, completed it, and passed while course was cross-checking her result with the Abia State University. 5. That Linda Upo was waiting to be given new rank and salary and not seeing them. She complained to her immediate office and the corps headquarters about her plight. 6. That instead of giving her the new rank and paying arrears on it, her appointment was terminated. 7. That the DSS was invited by FRSC to further investigate the matter, and it confirmed that the statement of result Linda Orie Ubo presented to qualify for the conversion course was not issued by the Abia State University, thereby establishing a case of forgery against her. That based on the confirmation of the forgery, the FRSC terminated her appointment. 8. That the termination of her appointment was in line with the FRSC regulation on maintenance of discipline 2005. And 9. That the committee agrees with the FRSC on the procedure adopted for the handling of the case and the subsequent termination of her appointment. She could have been dismissed. Recommendation. Following from the findings above, the committee wishes to recommend as follows: that the termination of the appointment of Linda Orie Ubo by the Federal Road Safety Corps be upheld because it was fully investigated and followed due process. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
Thank you. In the absence of any comments, we go to the recommendation. For the Senate to approve that the termination of the appointment of Linda Orie Ubo by the Federal Road Safety Corps be upheld because it was fully investigated and followed due process. Those who support this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Nyamu. Once again, we would like also to recommend to Senator Mao Huabongwa to direct the attention of this petitioner to the ongoing or the expected police recruitment, so that she also try her luck. And again, we recommend her highly for employment as a police officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Esteemed colleagues, the Senate will record that on Wednesday, 2nd November 2016, President of the 41, Senator Gershon O.H. Bassi, Cross River South, drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from his constituent, B.C. Onan, in Naman, against the Nigerian Police Force for inappropriate placement in the force, and urged the Senate to look into the matter. In line with Order 41.3, the matter was brought to the committee for proper investigation. Observation of findings. After carefully studying the written and oral submissions of petitioner and respondent, the committee noted as follows. 1. That Onan Inaman was actually recruited on 1st March 2004 as claimed, but was dismissed because of allegation of acceptance of bribe from a suspect and was later restated. 2. That the petitioner later got promoted to the rank of corporal and became agitated that he should have been a sergeant instead of corporal. 3. That on the basis of this, he wrote the Senate to look into the matter and compel the police to promote him to sergeant. And 4. That on hearing the matter, the committee advised PC Onan Eman to go and reconcile his satisfaction with the force because he was a serving police officer. That the matter he had raised was entirely an internal administrative issue which should be handled internally. Recommendation. After exhausting all the issues raised by the petitioner and hearing from the respondent, the committee wishes to advise that PC Onan Eman should thank God and the police force that he was restated, and if he had any dissatisfaction with his rank, he should seek internal mechanism within the force to resolve the matter. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Dear colleagues, the recommendation is that PC Onan Inaman should even thank God and the police force that was not restated, and if that he was restated, As he had any dissatisfaction with his rank, he should seek internal mechanism within the police to resolve it. Those in support of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. So PCO Nang and Inaman should go and thank God that it was reinstated and thank the Police Service Commission.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. The Senate will record that on Wednesday, 23rd March 2016, Rising Order 41, Senator Obina J. Ogba, Ebonyi Central, drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from his constituent, Mr. Tochukwu Dunu, against Nigerian Police Force for his unlawful arrest and detention and fraudulent sale of his tanker truck loaded with petroleum products, and urged the Senate to look into the matter. In line with Order 41, the Senate referred the matter to the Committee for Legislative Investigation. Observations and findings. After carefully studying the submissions and oral presentations of the petitioner and the Nigerian Police Force, the committee noted as follows. 1. That a tanker truck with registration number AA120WDP, valued at 19,500,000 naira only, belonging to Mr. Tochukwu Dunu of Dunaj Petroleum Limited, and loaded with 30,000 liters of petroleum products valued at 4,500,000 only, was impounded by men of the Swift Operation Squad (SOS) of Nigerian Police Force Port Harcourt and detained at the State CID Port Harcourt on 5th December 2007. 2. That at the time of the arrest of the driver and the seizure of the truck, the vehicle was parked along Ordinary Road, Transamadi, Port Harcourt, because the road was blocked due to industrial action embarked upon by NUPEC that made further movement along the road impossible at that period. 3. That the petitioner provided the way bill and other documents related to the truck and its content to Nigerian Police Force to prove his ownership of the truck and the diesel content, but the NPF failed to release the vehicle and the consignment. 4. That there was evidence that the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt, sat on the matter and on the 13th July 2009, ordered the Nigerian Police Force to release the truck laden with diesel to Tochukwu Dunu and the rifle owner. 5. That the claim by the Nigerian Police Force that legal process and court order were obtained before auctioning of the truck and its consignment was mere understanding, as there was no evidence provided by APF to the committee to back up their claim. 6. That the failure of the Nigerian Police Force to comply with the court order to release the truck and diesel to the petitioner and its refusal to dialogue with the petitioner on how to mitigate the effect of the loss on him, as directed by the committee, was a clear sign of impunity and flagrant disobedience to constitutional authority. 7. That the police cannot hope to wish away the order to provide Tochukwu Dunu his truck and content as ordered by the court. Neither can it refuse to pay Tochukwu Dunu the money equivalent for truck and content. Recommendations. In view of the findings above, the committee hereby recommends as follows. 1. That the Senate do condemn the actions of the Nigerian Police Force in disobeying the order of the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt, to release the tanker truck with registration number AA120WDP, laden with diesel, to Mr. Tochukwu Dunu, and its refusal to dialogue with the petitioner to mitigate the effect of the loss of the truck and its content on him as directed by the committee. 2. That the Senate do urge the Nigerian Police Force to pay Mr. Dunu the sum of 24 million naira only, being the total value of the tanker truck and its diesel content as established. 3. That the Committee on Police Affairs be directed to ensure compliance. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you. We'll go straight to your recommendations. Recommendation 1, that the Senate do condemn the actions of the Nigerian Police Force in disobeying the order of the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt, to release the tanker truck with registration number AA120WDP, laden with the diesel, to Mr. Tochukwu Dunu, and its refusal to dialogue with the petitioner to mitigate the effect of the loss of the truck and its content on him as directed by the committee. Those who this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Recommendation 2, that the Senate do urge the Nigerian Police Force to pay Mr. Tochukwu Dunu the sum of 24 million naira only, being the total value of the tanker truck and its diesel content as established. Those in support of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Recommendation 3, that the Committee on Police Affairs be directed to ensure compliance. Those in support of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Nyangu. Next.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. The Senate will record that on Wednesday, 2nd March 2016, Senator Samuel Nyangu has drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from his constituent Ego Network Chambers on behalf of the GCAPA against Nigerian Police, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, over the refusal of the corporation to effect the payment of the outstanding financial claim for the construction and handing over of blocks B and C of NNPC Towers, Abuja, and urge the Senate to look into the matter. In line with Order 41.3, the Senate referred the matter to the committee for the hearing. Unfortunately, Mr. President, this petitioner is dead. He just died last week. That's one of the reasons when we turn up our report, we should handle it on time. Maybe if they have paid this man would have used it to go to the hospital and survive. But the petitioner is dead. I think he's not even been buried. Observations and findings. After going through the petition, the submissions and petitions of the petitioner and the respondent, the committee observed as follows: that on the 20th December 1991, NNPC awarded GCAPA PLC a contract for the construction of blocks B and C, including parts of the central core and external works of the NNPC Towers, Abuja, on the sum of 817,811,090, with a completion period of 30 months. Though the project was not completed within that time, but was actually completed in 1998. And 2, that the initial contract sum of 817,811,090 naira was converted to 8,593,000 as an exchange rate of 9.211 to $1 to accommodate naira devaluation and currency fluctuation due to changes in government policies and the regulation of the naira. 3, that the outstanding indebtedness of NNPC to GCAPA PLC was $104,090,306.19 as a result of accrued interest caused by delayed payment and dollar difference over the years from 1999 to 2015. 4, that GCAPA PLC was harassed by its overseas creditor banks for loan it took during the period in an effort to carry out its contractual obligations. And 5, that on the 20th December 2005, the House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Resources, after thorough investigation of the matter, recommended that NNPC should negotiate with GCAPA PLC to reduce the claim by an agreed percentage. Recommendation. From the findings above, the committee recommends as follows: that the NNPC should pay its outstanding indebtedness of 104,090,396.919 to GCAPA PLC, as the debt was as a result of accrued interest caused by delayed payments and dollar exchange difference over the years from 1999 to 2015 caused by the NNPC. In conclusion, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the committee, I thank you again for this opportunity to serve. Mr. President, I want to say that NNPC, before the debt, we recommended in the the third item on this report, we recommended the NNPC should go into interface with this thing, through the alternate dispute resolution. They agreed. They were in the point of doing this before this man died. So this is why this resolution is here. Thank you, Mr. President.
Dear colleagues, students support the recommendation that NNPC should pay its outstanding indebtedness of $104,090,396.19 to GCAPA PLC, as the debt was as a result of accrued interest caused by the delayed payment and dollar exchange differences over the years from 1999 to 2015 caused by NNPC. Those in support of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, you can see that the chamber is almost empty. Some of our colleagues have gone to deal with their budget. which may be defended today or tomorrow. So I will move that we stand down the consideration of the remaining reports of our committee on ethics and privileges till another legislative day, and I appeal to our very hard-working chairman that that we take the remaining reports in another legislative day. Thank you.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that we do stand down all other items in the order paper to another legislative day. I so second.
All right, before I put the question, let me come here about the Senate again. Thanks, Senator Anyang, for his commitment to his work, his steadfastness, and he has shown that he cannot be intimidated in the course of his work, and he cannot be influenced by any issue, and he has not allowed those who are appearing before him to corruptly enrich him. So I want to thank you for your commitment, and we believe that in the course of this work, more commendations will come your way, and we look forward to greater political responsibilities. So those in support of the motion that will stand down the remaining items to another legislative day, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Say Leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I move that we stand down the consideration of the other items on the order paper till another legislative.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that we do stand down all other items on the order paper to another legislative day. I so second, Mr. President.
Dear colleagues, those in support of the motion say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, having concluded today's proceedings on the order paper, I hereby move that the Senate do adjourn till tomorrow, not till Tuesday, the 8th of May 2018 at 10 a.m. prompt. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that we adjourn to Tuesday, the 8th of May 2018. So second.
This is colleagues about of the motion that Senate do now adjourn to Tuesday, the 8th day of May 2018 at 10 a.m. prompt. Say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Senate is accordingly adjourned.